Lynn Julian. I'm a survivor. I'm sure by now you know we don't like the word victim. Everybody keeps calling us victims, but the victims can't be with us today, and they'd be here to speak for themselves if they could. I just wanted to vent a little bit about the first time we heard his voice today. Nobody really realized that we didn't know what he sounded like after 2 years. And after we heard it, we wish we hadn't, because the things he had to say were sort of shocking. He talked at first about Allah and this being the month of forgiveness, implying that we should all forgive him. And the last thing we wanted to hear was about Allah and why he did this in the first place and changed all our lives forever. And then he went on to give a sort of Oscar-type speech thanking the judge and thanking the jury and thanking his legal team and those who couldn't be here and his family for testifying and making, and I quote, making my life easy for the past 2 years. Well, our lives have been anything but easy, and our lives will never be the same again. I live a block from the finish line, and my neighborhood has changed forever. He threw in an apology to the survivors that seemed insincere and just thrown in because he was supposed to, and then ended again with Allah talking about leniency, implying that we should now be lenient to him because Allah says so. And I just was unaware that he would get up and just say whatever he wanted, and that's the law. And I regret having ever wanted to hear him speak, because what he said showed no remorse, no regret, and no empathy for what he's done to our lives.
Can you spell your name real quick?
Lynn Julian, Lynnjulian.
Where were you standing when the bombs went off?
I live a block from the finish line, so I was at the first explosion. And I have a traumatic brain injury, permanent hearing loss in both ears, and a back injury, and the worst of all is post-traumatic stress. Because
do you think you should get the death penalty or life?
I don't think that either of those things are going to change anything for any of us. It's never going to bring back our old lives. I lived in perhaps a false bubble of security, that I would go to all the Boston events just like so many people and never feel unsafe, never worry. And now we feel like we're the police. We are the judge and jury of everyone around us, grading their safety level and how much threat they might cause us at any given time, just riding the T. And I'm never going to look at Boston or the world the same again. And none of us are, because they took so much more than innocent people's lives. They took our sense of security. They took our sense of safety. We can never leave our homes again and just take a walk without wondering and judging everybody else that walks by us.
Why do you think he spoke? Why do you think he spoke today?
So,
Can you step up to the microphone?
Why he spoke?
so I would like to speak. My name is Scott Weisberg. I'm one of the survivors as well, and I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I am a family physician, and I specifically came up today to tell my story. I, as a family physician, have hidden and invisible injuries, which most of the media are not aware of. Those injuries for me are bilateral hearing loss, for which I wear hearing aids. I've been wearing them since August of 2013. I also have a mild traumatic brain injury. In addition, have PTSD as well. And part of today for me was to explain what it's been like to live with for the last 2 years, these injuries. To all of you, I look completely normal. But inside, I have significant injuries that I've been living with and going through. And as a physician, and having to go through the struggles of getting diagnosed and having to convince medical professionals what it's like to have injuries and to seek the proper care. Part of my treatment has been to make the public aware and also to be an advocate for other survivors. So one of my goals and missions ever since this since I've been diagnosed, which took me 16 months to get my diagnosis, is to be an advocate for other survivors and for other future events where if somebody has a hearing loss or a brain injury, where do they go? How do they get care? So that they can be treated effectively right from the beginning. And that is one of my main purposes for being here today in this courtroom and coming from Alabama.
Did you want to talk about Mr. Tsarnaev's speech? What did you think of Mr. Tsarnaev's statement?
So I was surprised that he spoke. I think most of the survivors were, that he spoke today. He said that he was remorseful. I find that hard to believe since I've come to a lot of the trial and never really saw that at all from him. It really does not change anything for me because what he took from me, I'm never going to be able to regain, nor what he took from my family, nor from any of us as well. I think he spoke because people were sort of expecting that from him. Since everybody during the trial was commenting on him not making any comments and his lack of remorse and no facial expression, so this was that one last moment for him to kind of just put things aside.
Do you think it was sincere?
I don't think it was genuine, but that he will say otherwise, and that's not going to change my impression of him or what he did to us. Basically, as was said by people this morning, is what this tragedy has done is it has made us stronger as a survivor community, and more importantly, it is made us more resilient, and we are still alive. There's 4 people that aren't, but the rest of us are, and we as a community are going to be stronger, and we're going to continue to heal through this. And the main thing for me and speaking was that we will not be forgotten.
You talked in the court about how your life has been completely ruined, and in a split second, the after effect of that has completely destroyed your life as you knew it. What did it mean to you to be able to stand up in court and say that, and at least if he wasn't looking at you, he at least heard you? What did that mean to you?
To me, being able to finally express what I've been holding in for 2 years was very powerful. It gave me the opportunity to let not only the media, the defense, the judge, even the jurors have an opportunity to hear from a survivor that basically has these hidden and invisible injuries, that when you see me on the street, I look completely normal. If I pull out of my hearing aids, then you'll see that I wear hearing aids. The brain injury you can't see. It's not something that's visible. The PTSD, you're not going to see that. So for me, it was the idea of actually being able to physically express all those feelings that I've been dealing with for 2 years and verbally being able to express it to the public.
You said you're a marathon. Have you run marathons since Boston?
I have. I came back in 2014, ran the 2014 marathon with the 415 group, which was a group of survivors. And I did it again this past year. And after the 2014, I started running again marathons like I did before.
A sincere apology would have been nice. A simple, believable apology would have been great. And there was nothing simple about what he said, and there was nothing sincere. One thing that we have done, you were talking about being proactive and moving forward. Scott and I are both on the board of the Massachusetts Resiliency Center. So we are taking positive steps to unite the community and what we call our marathon family to continue to grow and continue to heal long after this trial is over.
The defense said that they had tried to come to a resolution on this issue back in October, and that this thing could have proceeded. That is the sentence. They would have pleaded guilty at that time, including an apology. such thing would have prevented a trial and perhaps some of the pain that you experienced throughout this time.
You know what? Today was actually the first day that I learned of that. I was not aware of that before today, and I know that the government had a good reason for going to trial, so I can't fully answer your question. I would like to make my own statement. My name is Henry Borgard. Last name is spelled B-O-R-G-A-R-D. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, specifically Downers Grove, and I was out here, living out here, attending Suffolk University at the time of the marathon, and I wasn't trying to be there. I wasn't trying to spectate. I didn't have any friends running. I was just walking home from work, and I was a victim of circumstance. But that being said, I've made a host of friends within our survivor community. They are going to be lifelong friends. They are people that I continually rely on and lean on. And I really want to thank a couple of people, or groups I should say. First is my family, specifically my mother, who, as you heard in my victim impact statement today, received a phone call from me just 3 minutes after the explosions went off, and I scared her half to death. So I'm sorry, Mom. And thank you for your support. And I also want to thank War Dogs of Chicago, which their organization gifted me my service dog. Her name's Friday. She is a PTSD service dog, and they generously donated her to me after hearing about my story. I want to thank the people that have worked tirelessly to get this whole trial to a resolution, to capture Dzhokhar Tsarnaev during the manhunt, and I also want to give a sincere thank you to the prosecution staff, because they have been absolutely phenomenal. The Attorney General's office has been wonderful to all of the survivors. In regards to Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's statement, my personal opinion is a little bit different than my two compadres here. I was actually really happy that he made the statement. As I said in my personal impact statement, I have forgiven him. I have come to a place of peace, and I genuinely hope that he does as well. And for me to hear him say that he's sorry, that is enough for me. And I hope, because I still do have faith in humanity, including in him, I hope that his words were genuine. I hope that they were heartfelt. I hope that they were as honest as the statements that you heard today in court from the victims and the survivors. I obviously have no way of knowing that, but I'm going to take it on faith that what he said was genuine. There was a little bit of rhetoric in there. I agree with what you said, absolutely. Some of it was hard to hear, but I was really profoundly affected, really deeply moved that he did do that, because whether we'd like to acknowledge it or not, his statement, like ours, takes courage, because the entire world is watching us right now. And the fact that he made a statement which he didn't have to do gives him a little bit of credit in my book. So I will answer any questions that you have.
So you got the death penalty or a life sentence?
Personally, I am against the death penalty. I do not believe that that someone should be punished for killing people by killing that person. That doesn't make sense to me. I would have rather seen him get a life sentence. That being said, I am happy that justice has been served.
Obviously, you was again, as you usually get to question whether he was listening to you or not.
You know, I made the mistake of looking over at him while I was giving my statement, and he was looking right at me, which was a little disconcerting, and I had to resort to reading directly off of my little script that I had in front of me after that. I wasn't expecting that, being that he hasn't had any real reaction in court other than the one with his aunt.
So you made eye contact?
Yes.
What did that feel like?
You know, he's a human being. I don't know to what extent my forgiveness extends, but what I do know is that I believe in second chances. And when I made eye contact with him, it wasn't like looking in the face of a criminal. It was like looking in the face of a boy, because I'm going to be 24 in a couple days. Happy birthday. And he's younger than me, and that's been something that's really been a hang-up for me to reconcile the fact that I was at the second explosion, to reconcile the fact that the boy who planted that bomb that blew up in front of me is younger than I am. So that's something that's been very difficult to process.
Hey guys, last question. Is there anything where your victim impact statements that Lynn or you, Scott, could say basically couldn't have our cameras in the courtroom? Henry shared a little bit about what he said on the podium. Is there anything that you would like the public to know about what you said in there?
I just feel like the bubble is burst. Perhaps we didn't know we lived in a bubble before. Perhaps we took our security and our sense of safety for granted every time we went out to Fenway Park or TD Garden or just to Boston Common, and now we take nothing for granted. Every time we go out, we are in fight or flight. We are hyper aware of everything going on around us, and it's both embarrassing and exhausting.
Agreed.
And so basically in my my speech, basically as a family physician, which is what I am as a marathon runner that day, I emphasized the idea that my injuries that I suffered and continue to are invisible and hidden, what it's like to live with those, and the challenges of basically presenting myself as like one of you, and what's really going on the inside on a day-to-day basis, and how this is going to be a lifelong process of relearning and reinventing myself and refiguring out my new identity, and not only mine, but as a survivor community. And that's my main mission, is so that we're not forgotten because you can't see those injuries, and that we need resources, that we're going to need to continue to seek medical care, professional opinions. And if the one good can come out of this from this event is that there's more public recognition for how to diagnose sudden hearing loss, tinnitus, mild traumatic brain injury, PTSD, and how to get that care right away so that people don't have to search.
Thank you guys.
Work with the Massachusetts Resiliency Center will continue to promote awareness and education.
And that Resiliency Center is the mainstay for the survivor community going forward.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, the U.S. Attorney's on her way down. She'll be down in a moment. Carmen Ortiz. She'll be joined by Vincent Lisi, L-I-S-I. It's pronounced Lisi, Special Agent in charge of the FBI in Boston. Both of them will be speaking. Joining them at the podium will be Watertown Chief Ed DeVoe, D-E-V-E-A-U. Special Agent in charge of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, Daniel Kumar, K-U-M-O-R. Also joining them will be the acting Special Agent in charge for ICE, Homeland Security, Michael Shea, S-H-E-A. They will not be speaking, but will be available for questions, so they should be here any second. And again, you can direct your questions to anyone you'd like after, okay?